Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and thanks for joining me today. I'm Aja McClanahan with Principles of Increase, where I help you discover and explore ways to increase in different areas of your life. And this week we're talking about how to handle healthcare needs as a frequent traveler and or digital nomad. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I'm going to start with the topic that probably made you click on this video. You want to find out how can I be a full-time traveler, digital nomad, content creator, and make sure that I have sufficient health insurance. So I can't advise you on that because I can't give that kind of, I don't know if it's legal or health advice, but I'll tell you what I do. So the very first thing that I did after I got divorced because I didn't have health insurance anymore was I had to look for something that would cover me as a independent content creator, freelancer, blogger, all the different things that I do to make money that does not include a W-2 salary or an employer-sponsored healthcare plan. So I actually participate in what's called a healthcare sharing ministry. And what it is it's supposed to act as a replacement to your insurance. But when you read the fine print, the companies tell you that they're not health insurance as you could probably define it by law. And essentially it's like all these people put money into a pot and they help cover each other's bills. And that sounds like a really simple explanation, and that's probably the best. It's not very eloquent. However, I can say that I use actually MediShare. I'll put some links below. I've been using this service for going on 3 years, and I know others in the blogging community, the personal finance blogging community, which constitutes a pretty picky group of people, they use it. I think there are other ones named like Liberty. There's some other flavors and variations of these health sharing or healthcare sharing ministries. I'm happy with the service so far, but I will also tell you that I'm a very minimalistic consumer of healthcare services. So I probably don't look like the average person. In the last few years, I can maybe think of one time, and I'm talking maybe like 5 years. I can think of like one time that I've been to the doctor because fortunately, I don't get sick that much. And if I'm not feeling well, I have some other ways to handle my healthcare, which I'll talk to you about more later on in the video. We'll go over that as well. So healthcare sharing ministry, one, I use MediShare. And then the other thing I'm super excited about is when I came to Puerto Rico, I realized that I had some gaps in coverage. I understood that I would have to actually fly back to the US to use my MediShare benefits. And so I'm like, I need to cover that gap. So I just signed up with a insurer called Genki, and it's not like travel insurance where you just go someplace for like a week and they'll cover you for kidnapping or something, but it's not like a full long-term health insurance plan like my MediShare. It's something that's a little bit in between it. So I think it's ideal if you are a digital nomad or you are basically a full-time traveler. And I like it because it really is like a hybrid care for me. So like say I go somewhere overseas, and hopefully this will never happen, but if I had some type of emergency situation, this insurance would cover the flight back or the air back to the US where I could use my MediShare. And then it has some really interesting coverage. So if I decide to have some more kids, there's coverage to go to like I think it's called prenatal care, like prenatal care, health visits. And then when you actually deliver your baby and say you get sick with some type of, a tropical illness or something like that, you can also use that insurance. And if you have to be hospitalized for a few weeks, and they have limited coverage in the US, so that's why I got it. You can be in the US a few days of the year, which is exactly my case. So between those two coverages, I pay about just a little bit over $200 a month. So I'm really happy with what I have in place. I feel like if something were to happen, I'd be covered. So that's the first and the main thing. So that's probably the longest that I'll spend some time on. All right, and before we get into the next point, I want you to just hold tight because you need to hear a very quick word from one of my channel sponsors. If you're a digital nomad or like me, spend lots of time traveling, listen up. What I'm about to tell you will change your life. Introducing Genki, the ultimate health insurance for world explorers just like you. Imagine roaming the globe without a care, knowing you're covered for any medical emergency. From scooter mishaps to tropical illnesses, Genki's got your back. With instant sign up and quick claims, you can focus on your adventures, not paperwork. Don't let health worries hold you back. Choose Genki and travel with confidence. To get your free quote, just screenshot the QR code that you see here or check out the link in the description below. So the next thing that I'm going to mention is just my kind of like personal commitment to staying healthy, being preventative. I am I'm a very active person, and living on a tropical island helps because there's lots of things to do outdoors. So I'm like always outdoors at the beach. I like running. In my last video, I posted about running the Sandblast half marathon. I go to the gym, I lift weights, I like hiking. So I am just soaking up all the tropical vibes of like being outside, enjoying nature. And I think it helps, honestly. I am not a drinker, I don't smoke, I don't engage in reckless activities, I don't hang around people who are into like high risk lifestyle. So I do a lot of risk. So I do a lot of risk mitigation just with my lifestyle. So that's one way. I think honestly I just avoid a lot of issues because I just try to live a generally healthy life. So another big thing that is really instrumental in how I handle my health care is minding my mental health. And you all, I can say that this was something that I didn't used to do a lot. I would always prioritize work and money and grinding because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine emotionally and everything. And unfortunately, when I went through divorce, I actually had to face all of the mental things that were like breaking down my body. I had a few years where it was really hard to exercise. I couldn't run. I was in a lot of pain. I had back issues. And a lot of that actually stemmed from stress and mental and emotional issues that I wasn't addressing. At one point, I actually had 2 therapists and a spiritual coach, and I did that for a few years, and I feel really good and strong mentally. So I have a spiritual coach that I work with to just sort through things, when it comes to like just mindset, the Bible, all that stuff, which for me is very much a help. I stay in community with people that have similar or shared values, Christian values. I participate in, a few online Bible studies, prayer calls. So I make sure that I don't isolate myself and I really keep mental health top of mind. I don't overload my day with lots of things to do. I'm very mindful of like my work-life balance. And again, living on a tropical island is very helpful because you just can't pack your day with lots of things to do. It gets hot here, things shut down. You have to come back the next day for whatever. And then just again, walking outside, you are just pulled into nature to do something fun, to watch, a beautiful sunset, to check out the cows that live in your backyard. So I think that's been really helpful in laying a foundation that just keeps me not only mentally healthy, but also physically healthy. And as a result, again, I rarely get sick. I don't really go to the doctor as much. Okay, so the next thing is medical tourism. So I will be honest and say that I haven't done much of this yet, but I am, if you've watched some other videos, planning to purchase a property in Dominican Republic. And in fact, I've signed the contract and started making payments, and that construction process is underway. So I'm getting a condo built there. So I plan to spend quite a bit of time in the Dominican Republic, where there are lots of medical procedures that you can take advantage of. So for me, again, I'm very risk averse when it comes to like medical intervention, getting things done to my body. So if I were to do that, it would be really basic things like teeth cleaning, maybe teeth whitening. I want to get my eyebrows microbladed. I have a tattoo I'd like to remove. And if I don't go to the Dominican Republic, there are other places. I understand Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, where else? Turkey. So if for some reason I need something that is just too costly for me, I would definitely consider medical tourism as an alternative, where a lot of times the procedures are very well done. They're inexpensive. Now, of course, you want to do your research because you just don't want to buy based on price, but it is a viable alternative to healthcare in the US if you don't have an employer-sponsored healthcare plan. So that's what I plan to do when I am able to travel a little bit more, have a couple more years before the kids are fully out the house, but this is part of my journey to prepare to be a digital nomad. So hopefully this tip will help you as well. And then lastly, I want to talk about, I think it's pretty much the foundation of my healthcare routine and regimen, and how I care for myself as someone who travels frequently and lives outside the US. And it's biblical meditation. I know that people talk a lot about meditation and yoga and new age and some of these other circles, but meditation is actually a biblical concept, and it basically means thinking about continuously over and over again the promises and the goodness of God. And if you think about it, a lot of people are good at meditation already. If you worry, then you are a meditator. So I take different scriptures and say them out loud over myself, because the Bible is full of promises from God about how He really desires for us to walk in divine health, and He has promised that. So I actually wrote out a whole prayer that talks about how my body is healthy, all the systems in my body work perfectly. So I'm speaking to my body, speaking over myself. I even throw in there about, this is how much I weigh. My hair is long and lush and full. I talk about being without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. Yes, I throw some vain things in there as well, because it's in the Bible. I don't say it if it's not in the Bible, and it's helped because I get a lot of compliments, and people are like, "Oh wow, we didn't know your age was your age." Now I do age myself probably by the way that I talk, some of the things that I do, the way I dress, and I'm okay with that. But physically, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'm not doing too bad, and I attribute that to biblical meditation. And if you want a copy of that, I have a one-page prayer that I say over myself when it comes to health and wellness and just mental health and all that stuff. I am happy to give that to you. Just comment below. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I have for you today. But before we get out of here, you got to listen to a very quick message from one of the channel sponsors. Thank you again for tuning in and watching my videos. I truly appreciate your support. As a token of my appreciation, I want to tell you about this exciting new guide called The Design Life that I created just for dreamers and doers like you. Are you ready to take a bold step toward the life you've always dreamed of? Whether it's starting that business, moving abroad, launching a ministry, or simply pursuing what brings you true joy, I've created something just for you. It's called The Designed Life, a free guide to help you gain the clarity and direction you need to create a customized vision for your life. Inside, you'll find powerful step-by-step prompts like the self-audit and talent inventory to help you identify your unique gifts and experiences. You'll also learn how to ground your vision in faith by selecting life scriptures that align with God's promises, setting a firm foundation for your goals. Plus, the A Day in Your Dream Life section will guide you through the emotions and details of living that vision, empowering you to see and believe what's possible through God's power and with His help. This isn't just a guide, it's a blueprint to create a multi-generational legacy of purpose, fulfillment, and making the world a better place. Don't wait, download your free copy today by screenshotting the QR code on your screen or clicking the link in the description below. It's time to step into the life you've been called to live, and I know the Design Life Guide will help. Happy designing! I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want to let you know about a very exciting development. that is, I think it's exciting for the channel. As you may or may not know, I am essentially a full-time content creator, and I depend on this in many ways to help, to continue making content. So I am launching a Patreon membership that I'll put a link below. So the lowest membership starts at $5 a month, and maybe I'll build out other levels, but right now it's $5 a month. And with that membership, you'll get access to like exclusive content. Whenever I launch freebies, you'll be the first to know about it, and even paid products. Some of the paid products I launch, you'll just get for free. And also I'll do some live events, some more kind of bespoke things that I think will cater to people who are really interested in the content that I make. So if this channel has been helpful, if you have enjoyed in any way some of the content I've been putting out, I'd really appreciate your support. It helps me to keep going so I can go out here exploring and discovering ways to increase, so that you don't have to, or so, or like, being kind of like a trailblazer, so you don't have to make all the mistakes that I've made. Then I would really appreciate your support. And if you don't decide to become a member of my Patreon community, you can also click below in the description and at least sign up for my newsletter so you can get updates and information about what I'm doing and what I'm working on. So I really want to thank you for your viewership. I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.